Thomas's Olympic dreams have ended for the Paris Summer Games.
Now, the World Aquatic Swimming International governing body established a new gender inclusion policy in 2022, just 3 months after Thomas's title win. It bans biological male athletes from competing in women's elite races unless they transitioned by the age of 12 or before experiencing any part of male puberty.
They're like, oh, we respect Leah as a woman, as a trans woman, whatever, we respect her identity, we just don't think it's fair. You can't really have that sort of half support where you're like, oh, I respect her as a woman here, but not here. They're using the guise of feminism to sort of push transphobic beliefs. And I think a lot of people in that camp sort of carry an implicit bias against trans people.
But nonetheless, it's a win, and we celebrate those wins. Thomas can still compete in the Olympics, although he never will because he will never qualify in his rightful category, and that's the men's category.
Did you know one of the largest U.S. flags in the state of Georgia stands proudly in light and there's read it current, and you're also the host of your podcast called Games for Girls. But I want to talk about your book real quick, Swimming Against the Current. Incredible name. Can you tell us, what inspired you to write the book and give us a synopsis of what people can expect by reading this new book?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been a whirlwind these past 2 years or so. I never would have imagined I would add author to my resume, but here we are. And I actually just found out it's a national bestseller, which is very exciting news. But really what inspired me to write this book, this is something that I wish I had when I had faced what I faced at that national championships back in 2022. I had no resources. I had no support. I had no knowledge about how to talk about this issue, what was going on behind the scenes. And that's what this book is. You can expect to hear a little bit about me, right? A little bit about my background, what it takes to compete and ultimately be successful at the highest level, a more in-depth account of what we face at that national championships in regard to the unfair competition and the locker room and the silencing that we faced from our universities and our administrators. How we got here, again, the trajectory of where we're going, and what we as everyday people, as common sense Americans who intuitively know that men and women are different, what we can do to combat this movement.
It's crazy that we even have to say that at this point. Men and women, people are confused. It's, Leah Thomas, it's a man. Leah Thomas is a man. Everybody know that he's a man. Now, breaking news that I saw it yesterday, but I guess that Leah Thomas lost the legal battle in participating in this month's Olympics. And so what's your thoughts on that? I mean, it seemed like the Olympic committee got it right. I don't know why in the world they're still struggling with this in high school and college.
No, I know it. Actually, the Olympic Committee has it entirely wrong. The Olympic Committee had no weight in this decision, but nonetheless, the courts got it right, which is amazing, and is certainly not always the case as we have seen recently. But it's a huge victory for women and girls everywhere. It's kind of sad that we are basically celebrating a judge ruling. I mean, it's essentially the same as a judge ruling that the sun sets in the west. That's the point where we're at right now. But nonetheless, it is a victory in a time where it is deemed controversial to defend biological reality, to defend sex-based protections and sex-based rights, to defend women. But nonetheless, it's a win, and we celebrate those wins.
Thank you.
Thomas can still compete in the Olympics, although he never will because he will never qualify in his rightful category, and that's the men's category.
100%. Homeboy was trash when he was a man, and that's why a lot of them switch. I mean, because they know when they're competing as a man, they look at the numbers and they say, well, I'm getting dusted off running against the men or swimming against the men or competing, lifting against men, but I can look right over the aisle. I can see what the numbers are for women, and if I somehow became a woman, I'll be number one. It's crazy that they're always like number one or number two. They make the podium in every event that they end up transitioning to. But do you think, Riley, that people are waking up? Is this, obviously you guys have been doing an incredible job, especially you and others. I I play sports at the University of Arizona, where we had some incredible swimmers, and I know that they're fighting the same fight that you're fighting. But do you think people are finally waking up, or do we have a long way to go?
100%. People are waking up. It's people who maybe would have considered themselves apolitical before, people who didn't really like Trump because of the mean tweets, or people who, never saw this as an issue that would affect them. Those are the people who are now understanding what's at stake. They understand the direction that our country is going. They see the threat that is being imposed by the Biden administration, and of course trickling all the way down. And so yes, I'm more hopeful now than I've been these past 2 years. Trump is up in the polls by double digits. We have over 20 states suing the Biden administration and the Department of Education for their illegal administrative rewrite of Title IX. This new court ruling, we had a big win in Texas. Attorney General Ken Paxton ultimately was able to get a federal judge to halt the Biden administration's new proposed Title IX and the effects of that, which are set to take place in August. None of this would have happened 2 years ago. So that tells me that now we are going in the positive forward direction. It's sad that it takes unfortunate circumstances. It takes girls losing out on opportunities. It has had to take girls being exploited in locker rooms or being even injured in their sports before people understand the harm that's being done. But now I truly think they do, and I believe the pendulum is restoring itself.
Riley, what do you think? There's two things I want to talk to you about. I'm gonna start with this one, and we're gonna get to Caitlin Clark in a second. So, but one thing is, what do you think the parents? What's their position in this? Because a lot of these young people in college, or in high school, some of these younger people, they're getting pressured and coerced into doing things that they may not agree with. What's the parents' role in this, man? Why aren't parents standing up and saying, "Look, enough is enough. We're gonna take action"?
Yeah, there's a lot of fingers to point here. Ultimately, how we got here, right? We could point a finger at the IOC, the International Olympic Committee. We could point a finger at the NCAA, or again, the Biden administration. But I think there's a finger to be pointed back at the parents. We have seen a failure on the account of parents who are willing to defend their kids, defend their daughters at that. I talk to parents all the time who reach out to me and they say, thank you for doing what you're doing. I can't say anything, my daughter's dealing with this, but I'll lose my job. So thank you for fighting for her. And it breaks my heart that you have parents who, this isn't a hill that they're willing to die on. If this isn't, then what in the world is the hill that you're willing to die on?
Oh my God.
At Vodafone, unfold the new Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6 with a super saving of $500.
Up excuses why he can't play ranked.
I'm gonna solo queue to basically chat. I have a new account. I'm gonna play ranked with Sim and Teep tomorrow, and I need to be at least Crim if I'm gonna be able to play with them. So we're gonna try and level up the account ASAP.
The streamers are using new accounts to evade the Ricochet anti-cheat.
Wait, did Aiden get shadow banned when he was doing it? Alright, well, worst comes to worst, we just have to play with someone that has streaming mode. So. Oh, why new account? I'm confused. Because basically I want to play with Sim and Teep, and if I play on my account, it's just pointless. I'm not gonna be able to play the game. It's just boring.
It's not boring. These streamers are restricted, and they're not telling anyone. After playing a few games, he is then booted from the servers.
You in the phase one.
Okay, just got kicked from the game.
Have you been banned again, bro? Wait, you actually just fully disappeared off the map, but you have the DC thing.
Thank you, man. It says I have the disconnect symbol?
Yeah.
He later managed to return as he searches for another game, this time allowing another streamer to benefit from lower lobby kills, essentially boosting. But this streamer, along with many others, are still restricted from ranked play. Some streamers, I am told, have served their 2-week suspension and are already back. But others still have not returned, possibly due to a more serious penalty, as Diaz Biffle has now completely disappeared from the top 250, as he is no longer competing. Meanwhile, I have sent an official letter to ask Activision to cancel this year's World Series of Warzone due to the cheating and fraud that took place last year. We outlined all the evidence we collected from last year and compiled it into a 10-page document. I will keep you updated on the progress. Mutex, who I've exposed recently for boosting into new lobbies to shoot people that can't shoot back, has been caught again admitting to boosting by other methods. He talks about FIFA Kill and how it's unfair he's been banned from ranked play by Ricochet.
But FIFA, in the meanwhile, you know, someone that's actually grinding, you know, I don't know, man. I really don't like going against Activision, bro, because they do help my career, and they have, like, their game has literally created a career for me. But, like, I'm gonna keep it a buck, man. What they're doing right now is very, very wrong. I don't agree with it at all.
These streamers are laughing at Activision right now. They're taking them for a fool. He explains that paying for a service to shoot people that don't shoot back is cheating. He then tries to justify 2-boxing. For those that don't know, 2-boxing originally came from the phrase, 2 Xboxes. It's when a player, or in this case, a streamer, that colludes with another player of horrendous stats to fool the algorithm with the purpose of exploiting the system in an attempt to obtain bot lobbies, so he can shoot people that don't shoot back. But somehow, in Mutex's little world, that's not cheating.
Boosting lobbies, bro, is literally like there's a service where you pay to get a bunch of people not shooting at you at all, like literally just landing on you, and you get kills after kills after kills. It's literally a lobby where you boost. Like it's cheating, like literally. Not an actual like low KD lobby. No, that's not what it is, dude. No.
That is still cheating. You can twist it whatever way you like. Can we get the rules up again to remind these streamers what cheating is?
Here we go again. Any user who colludes with another user to exploit the game for the purpose of gaining XP, prestige, game score, weapon level, or in-game unlock is subject to penalty. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The rules state that a user may be permanently suspended from playing the game online. So what are you waiting for? You have the evidence. Ban him.
Mutex claims he doesn't believe FIFA Kill was banned by Ricochet for dropping cash in an attempt to boost kills. Why can't these streamers just play the game fair like everyone else?
I'm sure as no, I'm not calling him a liar, bro. I'm not. I don't think FIFA ever said that that's why. Like, I don't know. But I am gonna make this very fucking clear, though.
Now Mutex will explain that he is going to keep on boosting for kills, regardless what the rules say.
I'm gonna make this very clear. I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna keep doing it until literally they say on the game that.
Well, there you have it. Raven Software banned Mutex from ranked play. What are you waiting for? The rules are clear. Sledgehammer, do you think these streamers care about Modern Warfare 3? As soon as the new game comes out, they will throw your studio under the bus, just like they did with Infinity Ward.
I hope they never make another Call of Duty ever again. You suck. All of the devs at Infinity Ward have a great...
The disrespect these self-entitled streamers have for the game studios is terrible. They think they owe them a living because they promote their game. We didn't need streamers back during Call of Duty 4 and Modern Warfare 2, and those games did just fine. Remember that. If you like the work we do, please consider giving this video a thumbs up to help spread its reach within YouTube. If you are not subscribed, we would love to have you on our team. It's completely free. This concludes your daily news report.
Trade in and save on Shark and Ninja at Curry's. Save up to £50 on selected Shark vacuum cleaners when you trade in any old tech. Handheld.
Yes. If you do agree that there are things like beauty pageants, right? Do you agree with me on that?
Superficial, yeah.
Can you speak into the mic, or I can't hear you?
Yeah. Beauty pageants are very superficial.
Yeah, but you do agree that they exist.
Yeah, they exist.
Yeah, you got to speak into the mic, or I can't hear you.
Yeah, they exist.
Okay, great. So, at a beauty pageant, what are the types of things you think that are judged?
I don't know. I've never been to one.
No one can.
You've never seen a beauty pageant? Well, if you just had to guess.
I mean, I don't know. They do like the little rating signs stuff. It's rating on little girls, which is another whole nother.
Yeah, I get it, but that's not the conversation that we're having.
Okay.
And no, you can have beauty pageants with 25, 30-year-olds. They're very common. So they hold up the little signs. Those little signs have numbers, and those numbers on the signs are allocating a rating, usually somewhere between 1 and 10, right? So if you were to say that you had 1,000 people who were holding up those little signs, and you were in the beauty pageant, what do you think most of the signs would say?
I don't know, because I don't know what other people think about me. You're talking to
Well,
her like she's a little kid. Come on.
I totally understand that you don't know what other people think about you. There's no way for you to know that.
Yeah.
But I think you can take an educated guess as to what you think that those signs would say. So for me, I think that the signs would pretty much range somewhere between 3 to 5, and I would probably center somewhere around 4. That's just a guess, though.
For himself?
For
himself?
me.
Okay.
I don't know. It's the same question. She's not gonna answer.
It's not the same question. I'm not asking her to rate herself. So that would be the opposite of the rate yourself question. That would be asking if other people were rating you. What do you think that 1,000 of them, if they were holding up signs, what do you think that would kind of end up centering?
Probably range. It depends on like someone's personal like.
I can't hear a word you say because you just won't speak English. What you should do is tilt the top of it, tilt it up towards your mouth. There you go, and then speak right into it because that's how the audience and me hear you.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. I just wouldn't rate myself. I don't know. Why is it like? She's
Well, you're
rating
not
her
rating.
perception
You're not
thing.
rating yourself though.
Oh, well, if someone else were to, I don't know. How would I?
I just rated you. I rated
She
you.
rated me a 9.
Hold on. Allow him to
That's
have
nice.
his conversation.
Yeah, you're not rating yourself in this scenario. I'm not even interested in your self-rating. I'm interested in what you think that the people in the crowd would rate you.
In a crowd full of people, I couldn't say what they would rate.
You kind of just sound like you're asking a question like a cop would ask you if you're drunk in a bunch of different ways just to get you to admit guilt. It's like you're asking her to assume what other people would rate her based on her rating of herself, damn near. Like it's the same question, just reversed in a different way to try and get her to answer it. You know what I mean? It's like if a cop asks you
No,
how
I
many
don't know
drinks.
what you mean. They're two completely different questions. So, for instance, if
Well,
you said
it's
Andrew,
because of your own
if you-
narrative
hang
in your
on,
head.
I'll explain. If you said Andrew, what do you rate yourself? I could say, oh, I rate myself a 2 or a 3 or a 4 or a 10. I could say any of those things. However, my answer may drastically change if you said there was 1,000 women with signs rating you. What do you think they would rate you? Not only is it not the same question, but it could have 2 totally different answers.
Well, if you're asking a completely different question than Brian's asking, then what's the point of her answering it in the
Am I
first
not
place?
allowed to ask a different question than Brian's asking?
But he's harping on the fact that he wants his question answered. So if you're asking,
Yeah, I understand. I'm asking a totally different question. My purpose at this point is just to determine if she's bad faith or not, if she's willing to actually engage with the spirit of the question which is asked. So you do understand that there's a distinction between obfuscating away from answering a question, which is fine, or answering away from the spirit of a question. Like, for instance, malicious compliance. If I were to say something to you like, hey, can you hand me that Coke? And you said no because it's a Pepsi, that would not actually be going with the spirit of the request, right? That would be what's called malicious compliance. So I'm just curious if you'll answer any questions.
I did answer.
Yeah, so
I
can
gave
you answer to mine?
I already said 0, and I said 9, and then I don't know.
That's 2 totally different answers.
Because I don't want to rate myself. I don't know what I am, and I don't know what other people think of me. So like, I wouldn't want to just like say like, oh, this, that's just weird. Like, no.
No, I get it.
Like, is that not weird?
I mean, if she's not.
No, I don't think it's weird. I think that what's trying to be determined here, so that you understand the spirit of why this is asked. Wouldn't you consider that there are people who have narcissistic tendencies? And if they did have narcissistic tendencies, one such tendency would be that you had misplaced confidence in yourself that did not actually map onto reality. That would be a good trait of determining a narcissist. So you just kind of wonder if you're moving into this idea that there could be potentially female narcissism, and they gave you these kind of wild answers about a self-rating or how they believe other people would rate themselves. Wouldn't that kind of allude, if you heard that often enough, that there could be some merit to the idea that women are experiencing narcissism en masse?
Yeah. So if you think that the point of the question is to extinguish whether or not a woman has unnecessary confidence, or however you put it, sorry, I'm not quoting you directly, but however you put it, if it's to counteract if there's a narcissistic woman in the room and has like irrational confidence that doesn't base up or doesn't match up with reality, if her not answering does that show that she's not a narcissist if she doesn't feel
I think it does, and I can kind of give you my reasoning why. So I think that if you were to avoid a simple question, when it's very clear, at least to the onlookers, that you do have some kind of answer to it, you just don't want to actually give it because you're afraid of the repercussions of what people might think about you if you told them the
I mean,
truth.
she came out here and said her body count.
Let me explain the rationale, and then you can respond. I think that if that is the case, then yeah, I think that would allude to some kind of large ego or some, perhaps, what I would consider to be female narcissistic tendencies, because why avoid the question? That's just very odd to me. See, that's what's weird to me.
I think if you were here from the beginning of the show, you would know she's not a narcissist. It comes from a place quite the opposite. So you can't like judge people right off the bat.
What place does her refusal come from?
It could be a place from low confidence, some insecurity, how she's perceived by others, what it may make her look like to others. It comes from a place of fear, I think, in a way. Because
Yeah, well, I mean, so there's, I mean, all of these are direct possibilities, I agree, but I think that the way a person would answer such a question would show us which of those possibilities it's more aligned with, wouldn't you?
She literally just said that she could either be a 0 and she's fine accepting a 0, or she's fine accepting a 9. She doesn't care about rating herself.
Yeah,
it doesn't make her a narcissist.
I don't really understand what that has to do with what my question just was. Depending on how a person would answer such a question, it could give you some insight into how it is that their mentality actually is when it's mapped onto reality. So you just saying, well, I avoid the question by saying it could be any of these things. We all know that it could be any of these things. Nobody disputes it could be any of these things. It could be 0, and it could be 10, it could be 8, it could be 7.5, it could be 6.6, it could be any variation thereof. We just want to hear which one it is.
Well, I didn't have an answer.
You don't have to answer, that's true.
Would you date a guy who's broke?
Yeah, I have. I've financially supported a
Okay,
man.
you have.
Sucks.
Would you prefer to date a man who has money?
Yeah, but
Isn't that a numerical value judgment? You're judging a man based off of.
not really, because I don't judge if they're broke or have money. I don't care.
You don't care at all?
No.
You'll date a guy who works at McDonald's?
I dated a guy who had not even a bank account.
Yes, cool. You could have been 18 and you were dating a guy who was your age and he didn't have money.
No, I witnessed her dating a guy who didn't have a job.
You used to date. You dating somebody in the past has no bearing on your current preferences.
Current preferences range, because I do hang with guys that are wealthy and I do hang with guys that are dirt broke. So I don't know. It ranges.
Can I say something about this argument? Because it's always brought up by so many people. And those guys that have money, that are very rich, they're adult men, they choose to be with women. They are not idiots. They probably realize why those women are there and they choose to be with them. So there's something in those.
What does that have to do with?
Well, because it kind of makes, oh, she's a gold digger.
That's not what I'm implying at all.
But some other people are.
He's just trying.
No, the point I'm trying to make is you have an objection to this numerical value judgment. But
like rating our looks.
Right, but a corresponding value judgment would be choosing to.
Honestly, I just thought that was crazy to ask, even like to be like put a number on yourself.
Are you saying a guy if?
But when I asked you the question about have you seen really attractive women dating men who are mid, you are doing a categorization. You are doing a rank ordering. This person is more attractive than this person. Perhaps you don't
in general,
like.
There's people that have those opinions that someone can.
You got to tilt your mic down a little bit. Aim the mic straight at you. Here, you guys just take over that from now on. Just fix the mics for people. Okay, so you acknowledging that there are men who can be classed as mid. So instead of using numbers, if we said 10 is perfect.
Like a guy or someone like mid like that. Like,
You wouldn't say it to their face. That's not the question.
Also rating
Are there mid guys?
Also rating someone else.
No. Hold on. Are there mid guys?
I don't know. To someone's perspective, yes. To someone else's perspective, no.
Well, from your perspective, are some men less attractive than others?
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, well, if that's true, then you have now made a ranked categorization. And that's the same categorization we're asking you.
An actual number, like, I would never do
But you're saying that there are men more attractive than other men. That's just kind of what they're saying.
Yeah, but generalizing, oh, this person's more attractive than this person, and rating yourself is two totally different things.
I don't really see how, really. So it seems to me that you would get this stage of whether or not you were attractive from the gaze of other people, not necessarily from yourself, or what standard would you be going off of. So if you can rate other men as being this one's less attractive than this one, I would assume that you could also probably rate females and say that this one's less attractive than this one. And though somehow when it comes to you can't be objective with the standard, that's very strange to me.
Why females definitely not?
Because I love women.
And you think, what about men?
Men I have had, I don't know.
I mean, you've had bad experiences with women too.
That's
Yeah,
true.
you find women sexually and romantically appealing, correct?
Yeah.
Right, so, because I've heard this objection, well, I can't rank other women because I'm not attracted to them. But you are attracted to women, so that's not really...
But I wouldn't rank them. I wouldn't rank anyone. Why do you have to rank people? Like, that's just really mean.
But you already did. When you say that some men are less attractive than others, you've ranked them.
It's a categorization. You're creating a hierarchy. You just don't like the words used to describe the hierarchy, but there's a hierarchy nevertheless.
Okay. Are you guys still talking only about looks, or does it some?
Yeah, just looks.
Just looks.
Why are you bringing up money then? How much money are you talking about?
Well, that became a...
Talking about numerical, like the...
Yeah, so that became a segue, and the reason that money was brought up is to say, well, wait, clearly you can make some categorizations when it comes to preferences, what you rather date or not date, even if it came to something that wasn't looks. But somehow you forget that looks, you now suddenly can't rank anybody based on looks. Though you did admit that, wait, some men are less attractive than others, which means you're rating them by looks. So.
Respectfully, that's all it is. I just said I'm not comfortable with rating myself, let alone someone else.
Yeah, that's fine. I was responding to her inquiry, no. I don't give a shit if you rate yourself or not. I think that it's just a waste of time at this point, honestly.
So we have 110 at the table, then.
Yeah.
So, are you prepared to then say, given the other women's ratings here, you're the only one who said 10, do you think you're the most attractive girl here?
I actually, when I said I was a 10, I said I believe all the other people in this room are a 10.
Okay, I recall
Including
that. Everybody's a 10.
Including the guys. I didn't say everybody, I said everybody in this
But earlier, once again, if I can bring this back up, when I asked the question earlier of, have you ever seen a beautiful woman with
Yes.
a mid guy?
Yes, and I said yes, but I said everybody in this room is a 10, not everybody in general.
Well, then, I mean, what percentage of the population would you say is a 10? Looks-wise, for men and women.
From my perception?
Yeah, what's the percentage of the population that falls into the 10 category?
Maybe, like, that's a hard question, actually. I'd say maybe under 50%, like 30 to 40% people are 10. There's a lot of people in the world.
So,
Are we saying just based on looks or personality?
just
Is
looks.
it face looks or is it like body and everything?
the whole package.
I also think we have to think about, people have certain types. To someone, I might be their type. And some people see me, they see the tattoos and the hair, and they're like, oh, she's lower than a 10.
Because she's like a specific niche type of alternative girl.
Okay, but so I've magically, even though it's a minority of people that are 10s, I've somehow managed to just wrangle every single person at this table is a 10. Wait, so,
You just have the most beautiful people on this podcast. I'm the most beautiful in the world.
Yeah, I guess I'm just a really good talent coordinator that always gets perfect 10 models.
You should change it to the beautiful podcast instead of the whatever
I
podcast.
probably should.
I agree. You should.
I definitely should. So okay, so everyone's a 10. Not everyone's a 10 though. You said only 20 to, or 30 to 40 to 50% of people are 10s.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, and what's the breakdown for like 9, 8, 7? Because that's a lot. That's a big percentage to be at 10.
I guess.
perfect.
I think it comes from confidence. So I think that's why I rated myself a 10, because that's what I truly believe. And even when I may be like sick or at my lowest, I still think I'm a 10 in that moment because of my mindset. Can I bring up something that's kind of relevant, but it's a really interesting topic to me?
Well, hold on. Is it related to the rating thing?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, go ahead.
So, it is. So I think well, in the society we live in now, right?
Yeah.
A lot of how maybe we compare ourselves or how other people compare you is how they see you online, right? And how you're perceived on social media and, the whole social media thing, right?
Yeah.
So when there's so much AI now, coming into life, and like, so for example, some brands, they're hiring a guy to create an AI model. So she's obviously very beautiful. So maybe in like 5 years, all the models online are going to be replaced with AI. So how do you think it's going to change our perception, how we're going to rate ourselves? Like how
did we get here?
Well, because think about it.
This is a really good question. It's an interesting question.
No, it definitely is an interesting question.
I think it'll be easier, honestly, if like all the, like, say you're going through like Amazon and you're looking at like corsets or something like that, or you're looking at articles of clothing, like it's easier to not compare yourself to the model. I'm talking about the
But
models
is it going to be
wearing clothes.
relevant? Is it going to be relevant in the scheme of things?
It's not going to be relevant because the AIs aren't real though. Like, you're not going to compare yourself to a fucking robot.
No, I know.
It's your 10 rating.
That's the sad.
But I'm
It's not
saying,
real
why?
either. But we don't live in the world that's real. We live in the world of fucking make-believe. So I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Yeah, if it's AI, it's all
I feel like we
make-believe.
do.
Okay. So everybody's a 10. All guys are 10. Is there an equal distribution of 10 women and 10 men?
Sure. Yeah. I would say so.
You guys want to be so politically correct.
I'm not trying to be politically correct. This is
Sure,
just how I
yeah.
am.
It's just like, yeah, I guess I just agree with whatever you're saying, so I can't get into an argument. Okay. All right. Well, I'll have to ask a different question then. Do you think you'll be better looking in 10 years than you are now? Starting with you. Into the mic.
I don't know. Maybe. Maybe.
Bro, you've come on a podcast. Every answer, I don't know, maybe, sure. Just, I'm going to give you the pass on the 10 thing, but from here on out, just engage with the actual questions.
Well, I don't know how I'm supposed to answer that.
I mean, 32. She's going to look.
Okay.
32.
You'll be,
then
so.
I probably would look fine. Yeah.
Did you, okay, I want you to repeat back to me the question that I asked. Go ahead.
You asked how I would look and how you think I would look in, what, 10 years, you said?
Try again.
Do you think...
No. Try again.
Okay, then I don't know. You said it once, and I'm supposed to...
Yeah, you're supposed to be listening to the
You're supposed to remember this thing that he asked you once? I mean, I tell you, that's a tall order, Brian. Hang on, Brian, you are asking a lot. You're asking him questions. You're only asking it one time. Maybe you should just repeat yourself over and over again.
With every single person.
Okay, I will repeat the question. Do you think you will be better looking, your looks, will you be better looking in 10 years as compared to how you look now? So you're 22. Will you be better looking at 32 than you are now at 22?
Probably not. Probably not, no, I guess.
Okay.
Yes.
So you'll be better looking at 32 than you are now at 22.
I believe so, yes.
What about 42?
Probably not.
Okay. What about you? You're 26. Better looking at 36.
Yeah.
Better looking at 46.
Yeah.
Better looking at 56.
Would start get a little bit more down.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Just to be clear, so better looking at 46 than 26.
Yes.
Okay. And so are you peaking in your late 40s, looks wise?
It's not about like peaking.
What's it about?
It's more about the internal power that comes with the wisdom.
Here, repeat the question back to me.
Okay, it's about the hotter.
No. Just repeat the question back to me.
Do you think you'll be hotter looking?
That's not what I said. Repeat the question back.
Do you think you'll be better looking at 46?
Yeah. So
I
better
do
looking,
think so.
Better looking, visual.
Okay. Yes.
How does that have anything to do with your internal
wisdom?
Wisdom.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Hold on.
Anonymous donated $200. First time donating. Shout out to Margarita. I'm a huge fan. All of you should listen to her band, Edge of Paradise. Take care.
Oh, that's
Yo,
awesome.
Anonymous, thank you, man.
That was the sweetest comment.
Thank you,
I love
appreciate
that.
it. All right.
Okay, so I'm more on the track now. So okay, so I do think I will be better looking at 46 because with my health, I am trying to get better every single day, and I do find women in their 40s really, really attractive, and
Okay,
I just like
repeat
can't
the
help
question back to me.
Do you think you will be better looking at 46? Yes, I do.
Okay, but so the question wasn't, do you think you'll still be attractive at 46?
I didn't say
I'm not saying
still.
I'm not saying women can't be attractive.
But I didn't
in
say
their
still.
40s.
But I didn't say still. I said I do think I will be better looking in my 40s because with my health.
But you said because I've seen women who are in their 40s and they're attractive.
She said because
I'm not
she's,
saying
she's
that
working
that's
on her
not
health.
the case.
Because I'm working on my own personal health.
That she has a lot of health issues.
Right.
So with time,
assuming your health did not improve in the negative or towards the positive at all, it just remained precisely how it is. Although that's typically not the case as you age. Typically as you age, especially over the course of 20 years, your health is typically not going to be better. But I'll just grant that it'll just remain the same.
Okay.
Will you be better looking in 20 years?
from my own personal perspective, I do think so. Because
well, but you said because of health reasons, and I've excluded you using it health reasons.
And that's fine. I just think that.
So what are the other reasons that you'll look better than?
Because to me personally, a mature woman looks really more beautiful.
Okay.
So it's really just about the external beauty of it all.
If that is actually the case, that you believe from your perspective that women who are mature look more beautiful, then why don't you do makeup to make yourself look older?
Because I don't actually usually wear makeup at all. I've only
You're
done
wearing
my
makeup
eyes.
right now.
So again, I've only done my eyes for the podcast. But
Yeah, how come you didn't do your eyes in such a way to make yourself look 10 years older?
That's a fantastic argument, by the way.
Because I don't make anything different about myself. I only accentuate what I already have. So when I'm older,
Yeah, but why? What would be the point of that? If you believe that mature women are more beautiful than younger women, and you have makeup, and you can use the makeup to make yourself look more mature, why wouldn't you then just use the makeup to make yourself look more mature? That makes no sense.
I think most of the time makeup does make you look older.
It does make you look more mature. I'm gonna look a lot younger if I don't have.
No, but it doesn't make you look aged. So the thing is that when you're talking about age for maturity, which is what we're talking about for maturity, not emotional maturity, whatever bullshit you come up with, just age. Why don't you use makeup to make yourself appear to be 40 if you think that that would actually enhance your beauty?
To add on to that, so if you look at movies, for example, they do have makeup techniques that can make them look older, but you don't typically see women using those techniques, you know, that would create perhaps the perception of more wrinkles on the face. For example, why don't, if it was the case that women were more attractive when they were older?
To me personally, because that was the question. That was the question. Would I think? Most women
I think that that's even worse, though, because if it's only a personal standard, and you're only upholding yourself to a personal standard, and your personal standard is that if you were older, you would look better, why in the hell wouldn't you personally apply the makeup to make yourself personally look older?
Because why would I change what I look like at all?
If you think.
Oh, so you hang on, wait a second. So you don't diet, you don't exercise, you don't go jogging, you don't do anything to change any of the ways that you look.
Actually don't.
You don't do anything
I don't diet,
ever to
I don't
change.
exercise, I don't do anything to change my
You don't comb your hair.
Okay, well I comb my hair.
You
so
don't
that's
pluck your eyebrows.
Okay, I pluck
Right, you don't do. I mean, you do all of these things.
I used to dye my hair all the time because that's just a reflective of my personality at that particular time. Again, okay, everything is a constant change. But like, why would I make?
Thank you.
No, I don't do yoga. I can do yoga with my mobility. So I actually, when I was
look
16,
at the vascularity on the deltoid, like.
Yeah. So I actually, when I was 16, I wanted to be a bodybuilder. And I trained, and after like 6 months, I realized that I am not putting the muscle that I want in comparison to my boyfriend, and I quit.
I'll ask my magic wand question. So if right now I could wave a magic wand and you could advance your outside physical appearance 20 years. It would have no impact on your health, for example. You wouldn't age 20 years in terms, because, people have a, what's the average age of death? It wouldn't get you 20 years closer to your the age you would otherwise die at. Just your outward appearance, no health ramifications.
So like absolutely nothing.
No
changed.
negative health ramifications. You just advance your age, your appearance forward 20 years.
Okay. Well, if I wouldn't have to put on makeup every day to make myself look older, and it just magically would happen
instantly.
Yeah, I would totally do it.
You'd age yourself 20 years.
Yeah,
outwardly.
if it does not have any effect on my
No
health,
negative health.
it does not do anything in how close I am to death. Like, I do think
what about 40 years?
In 40 years, so that would be
40.
Well, that's what we were talking about.
I think she said
Yeah.
after
Would
30.
you age yourself forward with the same scenario? It doesn't take 40 years off your life. You just cosmetically look 40 years older.
Yeah, that's
so you
what
look
we were
like
talking
you're,
about.
Hang on. So you look like you're 60. Would you prefer to walk around looking like you're 60?
No, I do think that after, like, once I get in my 50s, I would not. The skin would sag in a way that I wouldn't necessarily be, Okay,
You're taking shots at her.
I'm talking about my own personal genes with my grandmother, who I look very much alike.
All right.
So I do not think I would be attractive after that particular age. That's it.
Okay, that's fair. So you think that women in their 50s generally aren't 10s?
No, I personally, again, we're talking about me personally. I have dated
Yeah, I'm
women in
talking
their
about
50s.
you personally.
I've dated women in their 60s, and they were gorgeous.
Okay, so wait a second. I'm not
it's
saying that
really about
some
myself.
women in their 60s stop. I'm not saying some women in their 60s can't be gorgeous, though how many women in their 60s you've dated, I'm skeptical of. But assuming for a second that even you have dated women in their 60s and they happen to be gorgeous, it does sound like you think that most women in their 60s likely are not gorgeous.
No.
No? So then why wouldn't you want to be aged to 60?
Because I just like the 40 stage. Like, that's when I think is the peak for
beauty?
the beauty with my particular genes, because that's when my grandmother was the most beautiful. That's when I would feel the most empowered.
You're a super colossal big baby donated $200. Why do women always make it about feelings? No one cares about the internals. They are asking about external looks.
And me too. I'm talking about external looks. I think my grandmother looked gorgeous in her 40s. I know I will look very similar to her. And then in her 50s, her body started to change in the ways that I would rather my body not change.
Also, it's a you guys are like asking an opinion-based question.
Exactly.
And so if somebody prefers to look a certain way, then you can say that they're wrong because you have a different opinion all day long until you're blue in the face, but her opinion's not going to change on it. So it's like, I love a debate and I love like disagreeing opinions, but her opinion's not changed. I don't think it's going to change. So it's like, what's the point in talking in circles about it? I don't understand. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Because reality.
Yeah, I'm actually happy to engage with what you just said. So let's start here. You do agree with me that people can have all sorts of different opinions, but they're not necessarily going to be honest with you about what their actual opinion is, right? Not necessarily. Yeah. They could be honest with you, but they also could lie about their opinion, right?
100%.
So, well, I'm asking her. Hang on, let her answer.
Oh, sorry.
I do agree that you can have different opinions and that each person might not be honest about their opinion or forthcoming about it, but in a rebuttal.
So hang on. So you can do through a series of inquiries by testing what it is that they are claiming, whether or not, if we map it onto reality, if they would hold that same opinion or if they would change that opinion. So it's possible that people are not always going to be forthcoming or honest about their opinion. And so when you say, well, it's just an opinion, that doesn't really mean anything. There's a good possibility that people, if they don't like the ramifications of where a question is going with their opinion, may not answer it honestly.
But you're asking for an opinion.
But why? Okay, but when she is saying something that's completely different from everyone else at the table, why would she put herself in the wrong a theoretical wrong point of view if it's not going to do her any good. She could have easily lied and gone with the same opinion that everyone else wants her to say.
Let us test and see if what you're saying makes sense, or if what I'm saying makes sense. Let us assume for a second you were the only woman in that room who believed in Santa Claus. I'm assuming you don't believe that Santa Claus exists, correct?
Are you talking to me or her? No.
Yeah, for you.
Obviously.
Yeah, you don't believe. But let us assume for a second you did believe that Santa Claus existed and none of the other women there did. You said it's just my opinion. And so then I pulled up a bunch of maps and I showed you that in the North Pole. Hang on, stop. That in the North Pole there is no elves and there is no Santa, and all the satellite imaging we have would show that if such a thing existed, everybody you would literally be eliminated because of the extreme cold. And that then I mathematically demonstrated for you that it would be impossible for one man to deliver toys all over the earth in the middle of the night, and that magic isn't real.
See what you're asking.
Hang on, could that change your opinion?
See, what you're asking is is not an opinion-based question, like what Brian asked about. Would you feel like you look better in 10 years' time, 20 years' time, etc.? That is an opinion-based question. I can have the opinion that yes, I will look better. Stop, because I stop for you when you tell me to stop. So I'm gonna tell you to stop now, because I'm not done talking. Okay? So when I have an opinion.
You go, girl. You show me that sass. You tell her.
I'm not
you
trying to be
tell that
sassy.
mean man
I'm
on
not
the
trying to be
screen, girl.
sassy.
You go.
I'm not trying
Get in there.
See, I'm not trying to be sassy. In no way am I trying to be rude to you. And anyway, I'm not laughing at your opinion. I'm not trying to like be sassy in any sense, way, or form. I'm literally just talking to you, and you're telling me stop in the middle of my conversation. So yes, I'm going to do the same.
Well, no, I'm telling you, I'm only saying
and let me finish my thought,
so I could,
because now
so I could
you
ask the
derailed my
question.
train of thought.
Yeah, but it was my turn to speak. That's why I asked you to stop. Yeah.
And it was my turn to speak, and you started. So that's why I said stop, and then you told me sassy. But I didn't call you names.
I didn't call you sassy. You just made that up.
See? Okay. I think you just like to talk over women. I remember seeing a clip of you calling a woman a bitch on here too, so don't even get me started. I would like to
Was she being a stupid bitch?
I don't care. I would like to.
You don't care? What is she being a stupid bitch? Like, do you think that women are incapable of being stupid bitches? Because, man, I gotta tell you, the number one insult I hear from women about other women is this word. Bitch. She's a bitch. That's the number one insult I hear.
Can I ask
Just
you a
saying.
question? Can I ask you a question?
Well, I'd like her to finish her exchange for rant. She's welcome to.
No, I'm good. I'd rather not be talked over, so it's fine. It's fine. You can just. All I was trying to say was that he asked an opinion-based question, correct? So it's an opinion. What you said and your counter argument was, do I believe in Santa Claus? If I believed in Santa, that's a fact. That's a factual question. Santa Claus does not exist. So that's not the same type of question. You're asking a factual question rather than an opinion-based question. And I want to apologize if I came off sassy by telling you to stop, but I simply did the exact same thing that you did to me.
But don't you think when you're talking about an opinion, when you're saying, okay, such and such opinion, don't you think that an opinion that you hold is a fact to you? This is factual to you.
There's a
So you're
difference
saying,
between a fact and an opinion.
oh, really? What's the difference?
You can have an opinion about anything and it not be a personal opinion. And you're asking a personal opinion-based question, whether you think you look better at so-and-so age, and that is up to the person that thinks whatever they want to think, whether it's they look better younger, older, whatever. I'm not agreeing that I don't think I would look better in 10 years, 20 years, but I'm not going to discredit her opinion, and it's not the same as asking if Santa Claus exists. So
what if your opinion was that Santa Claus existed? Wouldn't that be a fact to you?
that's not a fact, though. In reality, Santa Claus doesn't exist.
I'm not saying it's true. I'm asking if it would be a fact
It's a
to
belief,
you.
not an opinion.
He's saying that it's a fact that when you have more wrinkles, you
Does
don't.
anyone else understand the
I
argument
do,
that I'm
yeah.
giving
But
right
yeah,
now?
no, I
Yes, in fact,
Like,
I'll steal in your
am I
argument.
coming off like
You're
a
saying
dumb
that-
bitch?
you're
Am I
saying
coming
that-
off
No,
like
he's
that?
trying to.
Because I swear
he's
to
trying
God.
to argue with you that it's the same thing because to him it's a fact that when you have more wrinkles you're less attractive. When her thing, she's saying it's a fact to her that having more wrinkles to you, or not more wrinkles,
both are
but
in fact
being more mature.
Both are actually
is
not
more
facts; they're opinions.
Yeah, I know, but we can argue that all day whether
Where
it's
Santa
a
Claus
fact.
exists.
I want to ask you a question because I have genuine curiosity. So when you ask those questions and when you argue your point, you have a certain outlook on women in, you know, over that have certain opinions, right? Because like, to you, what does this question mean? Like, what are you trying to change perception of those women that you have an opinion of? I'm trying to phrase it.
So for me, I don't really ask the ratings question much. I just engage in it, right? So ultimately, if you're asking my perspective, I don't give a shit what any of you think. But because this is a show where we are supposed to engage with another person's opinion and what they think, I still would actually like to understand the reasoning as to how somebody can come to such absurd conclusions about things that I clearly know that they don't believe.
I have mommy issues.
Hang on. Within a series of quick questions, we can make a determination they clearly don't believe it. The same way you can if somebody says, oh, I hold the opinion Santa Claus kisses mommy every year at Christmas. You could say, okay, but I can demonstrate that you're holding a false belief, even if it's your opinion that it's true. Even if it's an opinion, hang on, even if the opinion is factual to you, doesn't mean that it's true. So saying something like, oh, I would rate myself at 40 to be more good-looking based on my genes, then not. That's my opinion. And so therefore you can't refute it. But you can actually refute these things if you give some other commonality that a person agrees to. They start to question their opinion. That's the whole point of it.
I get it. So my question is, you have a problem with someone who's trying to argue that to them at 40 you feel like they will look better. So you have a problem with someone that kind of doesn't go with the reality that we.
Only if it's inconsistent. Perhaps it could be possible. It could be possible, for instance, that somebody could give a really good reasoned answer. That is, it's reasoned out well and it's argued well as to why they think that 45-year-old women are generally more attractive than 25-year-old women, for instance. I would be willing to listen and engage in the argument and have my mind changed about it. But that's not what happens. What happens instead is obfuscation, bullshit, lies, and everything in the world to try to avoid answering the thing which is obvious to everybody. So here's what I think. I'm going to tell you my opinion. My opinion.
Is it an opinion or a belief?
This is my opinion.
Okay,
it's just my opinion, so you have to hold it as being valid, right? Because it's just my opinion. All of the women in the room who said they were 10s are lying. That's my opinion.
There was only one.
So one more question. So without us talking in like huge generalities, if someone was like extremely, I don't know, overweight or something in all through their 20s or 30s that you would perceive as non-attractive, and then they lose all the weight and then they get in shape and then they look great, and you know, to you obviously they're going to be more attractive. So in that case you would agree, right? That
Sure. So I would always I never put anything in a monolith. I would never say all anything. So I would never, for instance, say that just because on average there are women, there are almost no women in their 40s are going to be more attractive than their 20-year-old self. That doesn't mean that I wouldn't say that there wouldn't be some who could be, because obviously there could.
But that's based on your own attraction values, though. It's not based on
But so
my
here's the thing. I hold a different belief. I think that there are universal metrics for attraction. And the reason that I believe that this must be true is because cross-culturally, almost in every culture, when we look at historical beauty standards even, there's remarkable similarities when it comes to the picturesque of a woman that men go for and for the types of men that women go for. Most of the statues that we see that are showing enlightened men, for instance, they're somewhat muscular, they're tall, this kind of thing. It seems that the attractiveness, the universal metrics for this don't really change that much. I do think that culturally there's going to be some relativism when it comes to some things. For instance, perhaps there's a culture where women wear rings around their neck and it stretches their neck. And so if you see women who don't have that, it might seem odd to you. It might not seem like that's an attractive feature. Whereas I think you would still find hip ratio to breast ratio to still be attractive and this kind of thing. I do think that there are some universalities, because otherwise how would you know what is or is not a healthy female to breed with? How would you know that?
So to you, it's, well, based on, what if in like 10 years there's something that reverses the way you look? So is this question going to be relevant
Then we talk about
to you?
then.
So is there more to it, or is it just based on?
We don't know about the future.
Because
if there was, so if there was a magic, let's say there was a magic pill, or not a scientific pill, which reversed the aging process, well then what would happen then is we would still be correct. because what women would be doing is reversing their 40-year-old age to their 20-year-old age because that's more attractive.
But do you think then? But
that's
do
the
you
whole
think?
point, right?
No. I know. I'm saying, do you think, for example, if there's a woman in her 50s and there's a woman in her 20s, and you can't really tell physically how they look, would you choose someone in their 20s that's less experienced, or someone in their 50s, but like the face, the wrinkles, physically they kind of look
To
similar?
date, or who's more attractive?
Attractive. Like, so does personality of maybe someone with more experience or wisdom, does that play part? Or is it only based on, like, you can't tell a difference? Who
Yeah,
would you think?
so you can ask the same question a different way, and you would end up with the same exact answer. You can say, okay, if you had two 20-year-old women and you couldn't tell that, or you had a 25-year-old woman and you had a 20-year-old woman, or a 21-year-old woman and a 27-year-old woman, and they looked like they were the same age, would you choose based on personality traits if they were almost equally attractive? Yeah, sure, of course, that would come into it. But that really doesn't have anything to do with whether or not the attractiveness traits themselves were there.
I think I was making a question because I've heard some arguments in the past that some guys go for younger women because they feel like they are more moldable. I don't know.
Yeah, but hang on, that's a different question, and I'm happy to engage with that one too. I do think, for instance, if we were to take your comparison, there's a 45-year-old woman who took an anti-aging pill. Now she looks exactly like her 20-year-old self. And then you have a 20-year-old woman who's next to her, right? At that point, would the beauty standard be the only thing the man is going for? I still think a man would often go for the 20-year-old, the one who's innately 20, right? Because she would have less baggage.
But what if the other woman is more intellectually engaging, who enjoys more time with them?
I think that men care far less about female intellect than we think. That's one. And then two, I think that they care the most about baggage. I think they care about baggage more than anything.
Not in my experience, but I respect your opinion.
He's an older gentleman, so I mean, he's kind of been
Well, I'm with an older gentleman with a 50-year-old.
That's valid. But I'm saying, like,
Not really. Yeah, well, I'm guessing that he really values you for your intellect, huh?
There are.
That's what he values in you.
How far
Is
you
your
are?
Is it because he can have long, all-night conversations with you?
Yeah.
Or does he
About
perhaps
40 minutes?
value you more because he thinks you're young and hot?
No.
No, of course not. Nah, that doesn't even come into play. It's because you're very mature for your age.
So, how old do you think I am? How old do you think I am? I'm older than you think, actually.
So, someone who
Well, how old are you?
Everything
How
goes
old do you think
on.
I am?
I don't know. I would say late 20s, early 30s.
I'm 34. Yeah.
Okay, so early 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, right about there. So the thing is again, I think that just now this is just a guess, just my shot in the dark, but I think that he probably values your physical attractiveness even more than he does your intellect, and I know how that sounds. It must sound awful on the
it
other
doesn't
end.
sound awful.
But
I completely.
the thing is, I think it's actually realistic for me to point these things out because they are true.
No, I totally agree, and that's why he really looks after himself, because he realizes he doesn't want to look bad for me. So I don't disregard your opinion. If I look different, he might not like me, but I think it's not just the look that a guy is not going to hold a woman if she's not going to be there for him intellectually and physically. I don't think there's one thing.
Let me give a little pushback here. Not so sure that what you would consider the value of intellectual is the same that I would value. So, for instance, let me ask you then, specifically, when you say he values your intellect, what about you is so intellectual that should be valued?
No, I'm saying he values both. He values the fact that...
Yeah, I know, but answer to my question. What about you is so intellectual that it should be valued?
Well, first of all, I'm not saying I'm like this crazy intellectual person, but I'm someone that he can engage on any level of conversation with.
Any level?
For him, at any level, yes.
So can he sit down and talk to you about how the carburetor is broken and ask for your advice on how he should fix it?
No. I'm saying to him. He's not the type of person that's not what interests him. I'm saying based on our common interests, I'm the person that can engage with him on those conversations.
Well, let's see if that's true. What are the things that interest him that he intellectually values in you? I'm kind of curious now.
Well, we talk a lot about the science. We talk a lot about metaphysical stuff. We talk a lot about psychology. We talk a lot about different places in the world and perception of different countries and how.
You talk about metaphysics?
Yeah, we talk a lot about spirituality, metaphysical things. We talk a lot about quantum.
Well, what is when you classify something as being metaphysical? What does that mean?
Well, based on, like, for example, we talk a lot about whether, and it's not just with him, but, like, for example, I'm very interested.
Yeah, but what do you think metaphysical is?
Something to do with your consciousness and how it reflects into physical world.
That's what metaphysics is?
Yeah, you can, I mean, there's so many wide array of conversations you can go about it. How, whether someone has, you know, the whole debate about consciousness, whether it's, you know, your mind is connected to your soul, or if there is a soul, or, you know, something that's kind of beyond just everyday reality. There's a lot of things to talk about, and it just doesn't have to be, but you know what I mean? Like, there's engaging conversation.
No, I mean, I'm trying to figure this out, right? So, from my perspective, I'm trying to figure out these interesting intellectual conversations which can be had with you about metaphysics, and that is the thing. Those are the things which is keeping this guy interested. Not the fact that you're much younger and he likely really enjoys having physical intercourse.
Well, the thing is that...
That's just a guess.
No, I will directly repeat your argument, is because he can have any other... There's plenty of attractive women that are younger than me out there, and he can have them. He's a very attractive man, and he can have them. Why would he choose me? So I'm saying there has to be something more than just plain physical attractiveness to keep a relationship.
Also, why would you choose dating?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I don't know because just to kind of get back into this, and we'll tie this up so that other people can get back in. But I'm not really sure, because you think that metaphysics is about consciousness, and that's really weird to me. But even if we just kind of assumed that that's what it was. I don't really understand why that would be the value add.
No,
right? Why would that be such a value add?
I'm not saying just that specifically. I'm not saying I'm this intellectual person. I'm saying stuff that he's interested in. I have the similar interests, and we can engage in conversations that we both get reward from. So if you don't have that in a relationship, it's never going to work. I don't believe that.
Well, then let me ask you this last question. Let us assume for a moment when you met him that half of your face was burned off and your tongue was hanging out of your mouth, but you still had the stellar personality you have today.
No, of course not.
You think he would have dated you?
No, I'm saying you have
I don't
to
think
have.
he would have either.
No, that's why I'm saying you have to have both. You can't have one without the other.
I don't know. What I'm saying is that I think one is a higher priority than another. That's what I'm saying.
No, because you know what? I'm not gonna look the same in 10 years or 20 years, and everybody ages. But why would you?
He might not be there in 10 years or 20 years.
Yeah,
right?
but everybody ages. You're not going to stay with one person just based on their appearance when they're 35 or 25. You have to...
Yeah, but I mean, I think that...
I mean, are you with your wife?
I think that there's a hierarchy of motivational factors. So if I had to look at the hierarchy of motivational factors, I think that a man who is at his age is going to value in a woman at your age much more the physical intimacy than he is the long walks on the beach.
If you bought a car between 2014 and 2021, go put the...
One small step at a time. Maximum velocity. Oh, not again.
Hello there.
Ring deployed. Ring deployed. Seize the soul. Oh, goodbye.
Sniper, keep your head down.
Welcome to Circuit Royale. Prepare your defenses. Select your hero.
One small step at a time.
Whatever awaits us, I am prepared.
The regions of Earth are so varied, but one human lifespan is not enough to see it all.
You were Ife's favorite character from the Overwatch cartoon.
It made me look like a superhero. The reality was not as inspiring.
You gave Ife courage when she needed it most. I am grateful for you, Captain.
That means a lot, Carissa.
Stop the payload.
Payload's on the move. Let's stop it.
fate.
This time, I will succeed. Let's take on. I will assist.
Thanks for the heal. Dodge this.
Over here! Kitsune no Kagizune o Takehamase!
It's good. Let the Kitsune guide you.
Thank you. Over there!
I'm on fire.
Sorry, Yuki.
Taking cover.
Orbital ray is ready.
Justice. Duplication made. Enemy radar compact. Success breeds success.
Looking satellite vector.
You're all good. Dodge this.
Meet your fate.
I'm on fire. Prepare to breathe. I am breathing.
Over here. Time for the reckoning.
My ultimate is ready. Come to me for healing.
Let the Kitsune guide you. It's go time.
No, wait. I am still here. I will help you.
Bionic healing ready for you.
Stop it. You can do this. Light speed. Looking satellite vector.
Duplicating Kiriko.
动作不洗澡。
60 seconds. Adaptive circuits engaged. Kiriko.
of the game.
Let's get a groove on. 3, 2, 1. Let's get loud. Amp up this beat. I'll turn it up. You want that louder? Yeah, I'll turn it up. Oh, let's break it. Damn! Break it. Damn! You want that loud? Let's get loud. Vamos esculachar! Break up the game! Vamos esculachar! I'll take it! Yeah, I'll turn it up. I'll take it. Round this time.
One small step at a time.
Let's give them the one for.
Through here. Greetings. Hello. Greetings.
Hello.
Greetings. Hello.
Hey.
Greetings.
Sojourn en route.
break it. Damn! Vamos, esculacha! Vamos, esculacha! This is my favorite part.
Traveling to Numbani. Traveling to Eichenwald.
Greetings! Seize the soul, as they say. Oh! Seize the soul, as they say. Oh! Greetings! Hello. Oh! Hello. Hello there. Greetings. Hello. Oh! Greetings.
Traveling to Nepal. Prepare for battle. Select your hero.
one small step at a time.
I've never been more ready for adventure.
If anyone requires my assistance, please inform me.
5, 4,
Let's increase our pace.
1. Round 1. Capture the objective.
Hold nothing back. Ultimate is almost ready. Step right up. Enemy spotted. They're hungry for a fight. Let's give them one. right up.
Score 0-1.
Overwatch again, Cassidy.
Haven't they proven unworthy of your talents?
Stay near, will you? I hate when people run off without me.
5, 4, 3,
We must accelerate.
1. Round 2. Capture the objective.
We must not give up. Do I have to go back out there? Stay calm, Juno. You can do this. Please group up.
Claiming the objective. They have us outnumbered. Join me on the objective.
Can I really do this? No, I must not think like that.
I claim this objective.
Step right up.
I will find the key.
Hang in the point.
You will be renewed. There's a test subject. Your end is within my reach. I offer something new. You're broken.
To you. Go ahead.
5.
Into the mics, guys.
My own looks?
Yeah, looks.
10.
Okay.
8. Sure, I would have to say 10. Yeah, 10. That's couple 6. I'll get 5.5.
I'll say 5. 6.5.
Give myself a 5. Andrew.
4.
4. So we've got 10, 8.
Why do all the women
10,
laugh at that?
10.
Like, what the, am I way more attractive than I think I am? You should just look at me then and be like, Andrew, you're so handsome. It's ridiculous. Like, we just can't even control ourselves. Why else would they laugh? Is it less? Should it be a 3? Like, what am I getting wrong here?
Wait, can I ask a question?
At least a 6, Andrew.
Yeah.
Wait, why do people rate themselves less than a 10? Like, I'm curious
Yeah.
as to why you guys think you're not.
That's a good question.
There's
So,
room for improvement. So
yeah, so
God
what
made
we're
you
trying to
perfect.
ascertain is whether or not you think you're perfect.
You don't need any improvement.
No,
at
it's
all.
not.
Well, actually, Andrew, we're trying to ascertain if you're delusional.
Yeah, but that would be the claim of perfection.
Sure.
So anybody who would claim that they were perfect would be delusional.
Oh, you're
right?
saying 10
This
is.
would
You're saying
inside
10
of-
is perfect.
Yeah, so when we're rating a scale of 1 to 10, 10 is the max, right?
Yeah. Physically.
So
she said
yeah,
looks.
so can perfect, physically perfect. Can anything be above a 10?
I didn't say
Can,
the word
can
perfect
anything
is
be
too.
okay? Well, then hang on. Just follow my logic. Can anything in the scale of 1 to 10 be higher than 10?
No.
No.
So
but nobody's
right,
perfect.
So, yeah. So if 10 is the highest, that means that you're counting yourself among the elite, least percentile on planet Earth. I don't even know if there's a 10 which exists, but if there was, you're claiming that that is you. The most
no,
beautiful
I didn't
of the
see the
beautiful
question
of
that
the
way.
beautiful.
I didn't see the question that way. I think everything is imperfect. So the word perfect to me doesn't stand in that question of physically 10. I think that everyone at this table is absolutely beautiful. So I would rate everyone here 10.
Okay,
Including myself.
let's. I think that's fair. So let's back up and kind of address
Because
the
I
claim.
don't believe
Again,
in
that's
perfection.
a good argument. Hang
You're
on.
using the word perfection as in that's 10.
You
10 is
know what?
perfection because that's your perception. That's
Now I
not my
understand
perception.
what. I get it. Now I understand what you mean by perfect. And I understand that you also are yielding to a God you consider only God to be perfect, right?
Yeah.
Is that correct? That's your standard of perfection, right?
Yes.
Both of you?
Yes.
I mean,
I can't
both?
take it seriously.
Both?
Guys,
One?
into the mics, please.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so if you're only considering God perfect, that's fine, okay? Though I don't know how you would be able to ascertain the physical beauty of God. We will still assume that under your worldview, the physical beauty of God is a 10 along with every
I think
other
myself,
characteristic.
including everyone else,
hang
is
on,
not
because that is perfection.
perfectly physical. No.
Okay, I get it. But what I'm saying to you is that in this scale, we're only talking about physical characteristics. 10 being the highest possible, so let me reframe.
I think everyone's a 10 up in here.
Stop and let me finish. Let me reframe the question so that you understand it better, understanding your paradigm. If 1,000 men, random, meaning, again, I can't emphasize this enough, random. In fact, repeat back the word random so I know that you know what I mean. Because I've asked this question a million times, I just need to know you know it. Yeah, random, okay. So 1,000 random men, they're at a fair, and you're in a beauty contest, and they bring you up. And they say, okay, guys, you can go from 1 to 10 on her beauty, okay? And the average of what all of you determine her beauty to be is what we'll go with. So this guy raises 2, this guy raises 4, this guy raises 7, this guy raises 10. What do you think the average, the collective of all 1,000 of the men would put you numerically?
We're going to start with you, and then we're going to ask you 4. Go ahead.
Who, me?
Yeah.
What I think that they would think of me.
Did you hear what he was saying?
Said yes.
Yeah. It's kind of a hard question to answer.
Okay, so you answered 10.
Yeah.
So in the scenario that he gave you, what do you think they would give you? The 1,000 random men. On average.
I want to say 10. Shit.
Wow. Okay. All right. What about you? You said 8. What would the 1,000 men give you?
Average, I don't know, maybe 7. Because I don't know. This is difficult because beauty is in the eye of the beholder, so.
That's why we have 1,000 beholders, and we're asking you to average what you think they'd say.
But I don't know their perception on beauty. If they like Western beauty, if they like blonde.
They like Western beauty.
I'm not Western beauty.
Yeah, great. So anyway, they like Western beauty.
So then I wouldn't be I wouldn't
Into
apply
the
to
mic.
this. I wouldn't apply to this scenario because if people like Western beauty, that's blonde hair, blue eyes, lighter skin. I'm the opposite of that.
Okay, fine. They value Eastern beauty.
She would be a 10.
Still be a 10. I view myself
It
as
just
a 10.
depends on what you
Self-love.
love.
I don't know.
I know that you view yourself as a 10. My question is not how
Maybe
you
would be attracted to her just as much as she's attracted to herself.
what's my, hang on. I just want you to repeat for me. What's my actual question to you? Can you repeat it for me?
The question that you're asking is if there's 1,000 men, what is the average of, what is the rate that they're going to give you on average based off of the 1,000 men that are looking at you in the beauty pageant?
Yes.
Am I
Can you
taking,
answer
is that
my
correct?
question?
That's correct. Right?
They're gonna rate you a 10.
So answer the question. for the both
Like
of
she said, depending on where we are, like if I'm in
Okay, you're out
Middle
east.
East,
For
or
the
if I'm
love
in,
of God,
You're in east. You're as east as you can go, or as central east, wherever the fuck
No, 'cause
you
this
want. I
matters.
don't care.
That's why I'm like,
Whatever
it
you
has
think
to
it'll be.
Okay, yeah, if it was in my side of where I was raised, where I was blood born, then yeah, that would be a 10. But if I was in
You do
America,
10
where I was blood.
Where were you born?
Where's that?
Well, I'm Egyptian. We're full blood Egyptian.
You think it'd be a 10 in Egypt?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I already know that.
All right. And so then,
So all 1,000 men would hold up a sign saying
Yes.
10.
Yes, 100%.
Oh, okay.
and then,
And now I just want you to look at me and say, Andrew, I just want these words. Can you look right in the camera? Just look at the camera. Whatever camera's the closest to you, look right at it and say, Andrew, I'm not delusional. Every man in Egypt would say I'm a 10.
I wouldn't. No, I'm not saying that because that's not. See, your words are very manipulative. You just said
Oh, no,
1,000.
they're not. If it's a
then you just
1,000 out
said,
of 1,000,
every man.
you could.
But yeah, I
you
would
could
think that I would
never
love
have
to
a
think.
sample size higher than 1,000
I would
out
love
of
to
1,000
think that
saying
I would
something.
love to think that every man in Egypt finds me beautiful. Yes, I would love to think that. That is
Well,
my opinion
my question
on
isn't
myself.
what you'd like to think. My question is what you actually think.
That is what I think.
Your question is
What I like to think is what I think.
It's not even valid.
It's about my self-love
Why
and how I
isn't my
perceive
question
myself.
valid?
Because how are we supposed to know what other men think? I'm a woman. I don't have the mind
Well,
of a
I'm
man.
not.
I don't
I'm not
know.
asking you to know what
You are
they think.
asking me. You're asking me to. How would they judge me? How am I supposed to know?
Yeah, I'm just asking what you think they would guess.
I don't know. Whatever they guess. Like, you know what I mean? It's an invalid
Okay.
question.
I'll take
It's
a
an
crack.
invalid question. Okay, hang on. I got it. It's an invalid question. If a bird hit that window doing 1,000 miles an hour, what do you think would happen?
They would die.
Oh, wait. Suddenly, when it comes to a hypothetical, you can, even though it hasn't happened, you don't know exactly what would happen, you can somehow make a guess as to what would happen. But in this case, your brain, it just is empty. You have no idea what they'd ever say.
You're hurting my brain.
Yeah, I'm sure. And every Egyptian man would agree with me.
No, they wouldn't.
I don't even think we should grant this,
No, they wouldn't.
this geographical move. You guys currently reside in the United States, so what would men,
In the United
a
States.
cross section of men,
I
who
think
live
I
in
would
the
be,
United
and I
States-
think I would be at 8 to 9. 9. I would say 9 in my.
9. Okay,
Yeah,
what about
9
you?
for me.
You
Yeah,
guys
I
are
would say the
twins,
same.
so
I would say the same
okay, yeah.
answer. Yeah.
9. Okay. So still 10, 9, 9. Somebody gonna tell him? Somebody tell him? Madison, you want to tell him? Morgan, you want to tell him?
So it would actually, I just want to let you know that what you're saying is that you think 1,000 out of 1,000 men would essentially vote 9 or 10 or 8 for every single one of you to the point that you would average out to a 9 or a 10.
Yeah.
This
I think
would
that
put
everyone
you
in
at
this
the
table-
highest, hang on, this would put you at the highest beauty standards of the entirety of planet Earth, the highest possible beauty standards. So that you understand what that means, every single woman who has come on this podcast has given a similar answer to that, which means that either A, Brian Atlas only books the most beautiful women in the world to come on whatever,
Hottest chick.
or the more likely possibility, if, for instance, if I were to ask you this question, you two twins in the back, and I'll let you both answer. If you right now had to make a gamble, hang on, had to make a gamble, and if you were wrong on the gamble, you instantly drop dead. That was the consequence of the gamble.
Fine.
If you had to either gamble, A, that Brian Atlas brings the most beautiful women on the podcast ever, or B, that the women who mostly come on the podcast are delusional when it comes to self-ratings, which way would you gamble?
I would not gamble because it's haram, first of all.
Yeah, I know, but you
You're asking me the wrong. You're asking the wrong person.
If
so
you
I'm
had
sorry.
to.
Yeah, I know.
It's against my religion.
Hey, you know what's not haram? A hypothetical. So engage in the
Okay,
hypothetical.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, I just don't understand, why do you want us to look at ourselves lower?
No. Hold on.
Why?
Hold on.
I don't get
You can't weasel answer his question.
Don't understand.
I'm more than happy to be humbled by saying I'm a 1. I would say that I could be a 1. I'd be
Yeah, I
happy
know.
with that
Can you answer my question?
Yeah, answer the actual question.
Wait, what was the question?
The question is, if you had to gamble and the stakes were your life, would you either gamble A, that Brian Atlas brings the most beautiful women in the world on his podcast and fills the entire podcast with them, or B, that most of the women who come on the podcast are delusional when it comes to their self-rating? Hang on. You didn't even hear the second part of the question.
Yeah, I heard. I remembered. Or you will die.
How can you answer before you even heard the second part of the question?
Because I know the answer. I know the answer. It's not delusion. You shouldn't feel like a woman who self-love or whatever thinks that everyone here is beautiful is delusional. That's self-hate.
That's true. That's hate.
Say goodbye to old costly cable TV once and for all. This revolutionary invention gives you access to your favorite channels and movies completely free of charge. Greedy cable corporations are trying their best to outlaw it. The device, surpassing standard cable companies in channel offerings and HD quality, deploys cutting-edge chip technology to capture satellite TV signals. It gives access to content across all major media platforms, eliminating the need for expensive contracts or monthly subscriptions, making traditional cable providers a thing of the past. Setting up this invention is a breeze, taking less than a minute. Simply plug it in and it works. The signal quality excels in both urban and rural settings. Meet Rewave, crafted by a former cable operator employee in London, turned the TV industry upside down and saved Brits.
In countries like Britain and France, most of us are not Muslims, and we do not believe in Muhammad as the founder of any faith that we follow. People are Christians, atheists, all sorts of things. You cannot expect, and this is the crucial thing, Muslims should not expect non-Muslims to abide by their own belief system.
Countries like Britain and France are diverse.
Humanity is shackled. I will find the key.
Good to see you. Hello. Hello. Hey.
Moira, I should crush you like a bug for what you've done.
Did you know that certain centipedes kill prey 15 times their size? 4, 3.
What are you saying?
I'm advising my prey not to test me.
Come on, easy lose, guys.
Misery made manifest. with cynics before.
Move here if you wish to be healed. Enemy here.
Vai, amore!
Wow, I'm actually on fire!
First round.
Hello there.
1.
Check it. Enemy turret ahead.
Score 1-0.
Speed it up, everyone. I still can't believe I get to work with a real cowboy. What's it like in the American West?
Lizards and dirt, far as the eye can see.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
Beats the city, I'll tell you that.
I feel this in my bones.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey!
Hello.
Capture the objective.
I understand.
Hope they packed up their bags for when we drive them out.
Pain is inevitable. Turn on show wits. The enemy is placing a turret. I require sacrifice. Turret within my sight.
Someone call a doctor. Obrigado.
Societies where most people are not Muslims and do not adhere to the teachings of Muhammad. This diversity includes Christians, atheists, and people of various other beliefs. A crucial point raised by many is that Muslims should not expect non-Muslims to abide by Islamic belief systems. This tension is central to the controversies stirred by conservative author and commentator Douglas Murray, who has been vocal about his criticisms of Islam's role in the UK and Europe.
One of the interesting things about the difference between Christianity and Islam, we have an idiot political class in all our countries that pretends sometimes for the sake to simply of interfaith dialogue, sometimes simply for the sake of fudging along, and sometimes just because they don't know what they're talking about. They pretend that all religions are basically the same. And, we might practice Christianity, I might practice Islam, he might practice yoga. And it all comes out the same. It's not true.
In recent years, Murray's high-profile interviews and writings have sparked significant debate. He argues that Europe is witnessing the beginnings of a cultural takeover, largely driven by Muslim immigration and the spread of Islamic practices. According to Murray, if these trends continue, the character of European societies will be irrevocably changed for the worse. He points to areas within European cities where police are hesitant to go due to the influence of Islamic radicalism, suggesting that authorities have lost control in these regions. These claims have drawn strong pushback from Muslim community leaders and anti-racism activists who accuse Murray of perpetuating harmful stereotypes.
My guest tonight is a neoconservative writer who's in the country for the Australian Think Inc. event Polarised alongside Dr. Cornel West. His book is The Strange Death of Europe, Immigration, Identity, Islam.
We do have a problem. We have a problem when the failures of Islam throughout the world, the failures of all Islamic societies come here into Britain. Their intolerance of freedom of conscience, their intolerance of apostates, their intolerance of freedom of expression and freedom of speech.
Truth is, the great disappointment of the last 14 years has been that civil society has failed, that we can't do the things to the Islamists that we would do, as I referred to the neo-Nazis.
Please welcome Douglas Murray, everybody. Hello. Welcome, Douglas. Thanks for coming on the show. I know you're very concerned about Western civilization. This show is technically part of the Western canon. Thoughts?
Yeah, the decline in a nutshell.
Well, that's a show. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it very much. I just need to make a disclaimer at the top. Myself and the executive producer of this program, Dan Illich, are involved in your tour with Dr. Cornel West in the country. That was separate to the decision to book you on the show. We haven't been bribed into having a neoconservative on the ABC, but I need to put that out there. If people aren't familiar with your work, what is this strange death of Europe that you refer to?
Well, for many years I've travelled as a reporter, as a journalist across the Third World and Middle East, Africa, many of the war zones of these areas, seen many of the places where people are fleeing from. And in 2015, I was reporting from across my continent, across Europe, when people were coming in unprecedented numbers. We were talking about the German population taking in an additional 2% in a single year alone, where basically the German Chancellor said anyone who makes it to Europe can come. And I saw all of this firsthand, and I realized that there was a catastrophe in the making, a catastrophe which I think has already started to unfurl in the years since. I realized this is just a version of a problem that every country is having to think about. And we're very lucky countries, yours and mine. We're countries that people want to come to. And that isn't an easy thing to deal with, because we know that we cannot take in the world, and yet we can't have the conversation about what we can do. And I thought that we need to think about this much more deeply than we are.
The political consequences of that decision sort of flowing through Germany and affecting Angela Merkel. Some changes seem to be happening. They're trying to get more agreements with North African countries and looking at trying to return some people to where they came from.
Bribed Turkey.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen?
Well, we already know some of the consequences. German elections saw a party that's generally described as far right, the AfD, is now the main party of opposition in the German parliament. Unbelievable social problems, unbelievable problems with freedom of expression. I mean, another data law just came in at the beginning of this year that tries to stop German citizens saying very critical things about their government on social media. And I just, you know, who could predict any problem?
Murray's critics argue that his rhetoric fuels Islamophobia and empowers anti-immigrant sentiment. They believe his views play into the hands of far-right populist movements that have gained traction across Europe. Ihsan Malik, director of the Islamic Human Rights Commission, describes Murray's language as inflammatory, accusing him of cherry-picking statistics to create an alarmist narrative about Islam's role in Europe. This, according to Malik, has real consequences, fostering a hostile environment for Muslims.
From, for instance, suppressing the rage of the German people. Who could foresee any downside to that, you know?
Not me. All good. Okay. What do you think should happen now to address this situation?
Look, I just, as I say, we have to think about this much more seriously and deeply than we've been thinking about it. A lot of people make a lot of very easy social capital, including a lot of politicians make very easy social capital by basically saying, we're generous, we're open, let them come. They quote John Lennon quite often. And this is cheap and too easy, and it's not up to the task in hand. We have to be able to think about the speed of immigration, the type of immigration we do want, and that means the type of immigration that we just don't need more of. These are really ugly and difficult conversations to have, but it's my belief that if we don't have them, other people will have them, and very bad people will have them. I'm not willing to hand that terrain over.
Tired of seeing a blurred reality? Try these self-adjustable glasses that are taking the world by storm. They let you achieve a perfect 20/20 vision at any distance, which means you won't have to visit your eye doctor ever again. They were created by an optician who dedicated his life to providing a solution for myopia, hyperopia.
I'm just not willing to do it.
That ugliness is certainly something we're wrestling with in this country. We always have with immigration in Australia, and now our population has hit 25 million people. Some people are concerned solely by the numbers of immigration that we have, others by the makeup of that immigration. Some are concerned by both. You talk about how London is a minority white city at the moment. It's currently reached that point. In the future, there are predictions that the UK and America will become minority white countries. And I guess when I hear those phrases or those concerns, or when I hear people say phrases like, this part of Sydney doesn't look like how Australia is supposed to look, that makes me feel very nervous.
Rightly.
It makes me wonder, what are these countries supposed to look like, and who gets to decide that?
Sure. Well, it should be decided by governments which should be accountable to the people. And if the people want such a change to happen, then you can do it. The problem I identify across Europe is that it happens in the face of public hopes and public desire. where the politicians end up berating the public rather than trying to listen to them, trying to answer them. And this, again, is a problem that is just exploding everywhere. Look at Italy is one of the founding members of the EU.
However, Murray's defenders argue that he is simply voicing concerns shared by many Europeans about the rapid demographic changes in their countries. They believe it is possible to critique aspects of Islamic ideology and cultural practices without being labelled as Islamophobic. Conservative commentator James Dingo, for example, asserts that Murray is highlighting legitimate problems arising from mass immigration and the introduction of different values and practices. The debate, they argue, should not be stifled by accusations of bigotry. In his book, The Strange Death of Europe, published in 2017, Murray elaborates on his concerns about unchecked immigration from Muslim-majority countries and the perceived loss of European cultural identity. He warns that these trends pose an existential threat to the continent. Critics have accused him of stoking fears of a Muslim invasion, arguing that his rhetoric is dangerous and divisive.
It's a massively important economy in Europe, and the public there are so angry that they just voted into a government, a party, again, that is generally described as far-right, the League, and a party founded by a comedian, the Five Star Movement, which literally doesn't know what it wants to do. It is a protest vote that has become government, okay? I mean, you can say all sorts of things and make a lot of jokes about Italian politics, but it literally being run by comedians is
sounds fucking awesome, I gotta say.
You should look into this as a career move.
Would anyone vote for me? Well, that was reluctant. What about the way these conversations and the way they affect immigrants who are already here? We could close the borders tomorrow and let nobody in left. There is a huge immigrant population in Australia. The phrase, a country built by immigrants is regularly used since the White Australia policy thing, since we wrapped that up.
It depends what you mean by immigrants in Australia. I mean,
sure.
What do you mean when you say that?
Immigrants, people who have immigrated post the White Australia policy. I think certainly that's a big part of it, of what we make up the immigrant population. But indeed, yes.
Because it's an important question. I mean, is somebody an immigrant once they become a citizen? I'd say not.
They cease to be an immigrant.
They cease to be an immigrant. Once you're a citizen, you're not an immigrant anymore.
Right.
You're an Australian.
Yeah. Well, there are plenty of citizens, people who are born and raised from, say, the Sudanese community in Australia. There's a lot of focus on that particular immigrant community in Melbourne at the moment.
Because of the home invasion.
There are some issues surrounding the overrepresentation of that community in crime statistics. Yeah. This video went a little bit viral on Vice Australia last week. This is some Sudanese youth recounting some of the feedback and some of the conversation that's happening online at the moment when it comes to their community.
What more do you want? You people in Canberra, this is our country. Please send them back. They don't deserve to be here, and they are used to fighting and destroying other people's businesses, lives, and homes. For God's sake, can't you see what is happening? We will be taken over by them, and that is for sure. You are a bunch of idiots if you don't see this happening. I say concealed firearms should be considered in Australia. If they're that much of a danger, they should be shot.
In a recent interview with the German newspaper Die Welt, Murray claimed that the mass immigration of Muslims into Europe is the continent's biggest problem. He pointed to rising Muslim populations, the construction of mosques, and the adoption of Islamic cultural practices as evidence of an ongoing Islamization of Europe. Murray reiterated his belief that if these trends continue, European societies will be irrevocably changed for the worse.
I mean, how do we have this conversation without that kind of shit happening?
Well, look, that's just a risk you're going to have to take, isn't it? Because the alternative is you shut everyone up, which isn't going to work. You're not going to be able to tell people don't speak about things, because they may not speak about things, but they'll keep thinking things. And it's much better that you know what they're thinking than that everyone hides it from you. It's going to be a lot better in the long term. But this points exactly to the centre of a conundrum, which is there are specific issues that specific communities bring, undoubtedly. There are specific benefits that communities bring, undoubtedly, and specific downsides. One thing which has, I've seen this throughout Europe, if, for instance, people flee a specific war zone, for instance, Somalia, speak to anyone who's fled Somalia in recent years. They have seen things that you can't imagine. Now, it's very likely these people also are going to have a different attitude towards violence as a result. And we have seen this in gangs in London in recent years. A Somali gang moves into an area and they are willing to do things that other gangs won't do, and that causes a rise in violence, gang to gang to gang. Okay. that doesn't mean you don't invite any Somalis. It doesn't mean you don't have any asylum policy. But, like, you're a damn fool if you're not going to think about that and find some way to address it, because otherwise you leave...
Don't even think about life insurance until you've heard this. You know, many people in the life insurance industry are absolutely furious about this little-known policy that's really rocked the industry with its immediate day one cover. See, you can now get up to £300,000 to help cover any debts, like a mortgage or perhaps leave a substantial gift to your family, and of course help cover any funeral costs as well, with immediate coverage from day one for any accidental death, giving you peace of mind right away. Unlike other providers...
Give it to people to start gestating and becoming vile and becoming angry against everybody. So, you know, this is the central stupidity of the assumption of multiculturalists who believe in that not as an idea, but as a policy, that you make things multicultural. The central problem they keep on coming to is this. They think in a diverse society, we should hear less views. We should clamp down on views. Look, the more diverse your society, the more views you're going to have to hear. Get used to it. And some of that's going to be really ugly and unpleasant. Well, as I say, what are your alternatives? Because shutting up cannot be one of them.
Well, if you'd like to catch Douglas Murray and hear more of his views, you can catch him in Dr. Corner West in Melbourne tomorrow, Sydney on Wednesday, and in Brisbane on August 19th. Thanks very much for being here. Please thank him, Douglas Murray, everybody.
Prepare to attack. Select your hero.
The concept of no-go zones in major European cities has been a contentious point in Murray's arguments. He claims that areas in cities like London, Paris and Brussels have become dominated by Islamic culture, making them inaccessible to non-Muslims. These statements have drawn significant criticism, with Muslim community leaders and anti-racism activists accusing Murray of spreading misinformation. FMA Badani of the Islamic Council of Europe dismisses the idea of no-go zones as a bogus concept that has been thoroughly debunked. Badani argues that Murray's scaremongering fits his anti-Islam narrative, which misrepresents the reality on the ground. Defenders of Murray maintain that he is raising valid concerns about social tensions and security challenges posed by the growth of insular Muslim enclaves in some European cities. They argue that the political establishment has been too quick to dismiss or downplay these issues. This ongoing debate highlights deep divisions in how the role of Islam in European society is perceived and discussed, while Murray presents himself as a sober analyst warning about demographic and cultural shifts. His critics see him as a right-wing provocateur, fueling Islamophobia and extremism.
I'm so fed up with understanding all of this. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of Muslims have been killed in the last 12 years by Bashar al-Assad and other Muslims in the civil war in Syria. There's no one on the streets of Sydney or Melbourne. There's no one on the streets of London. We have seen hundreds of thousands of people killed in the last decade in Yemen, Muslims being killed. There's no one on the streets of Melbourne. Nobody is standing outside the Sydney Opera House calling gas the Hutu, or gas the Hutu, gas the shit.
Bothersome.
I am ready to unleash coalescence.
My ultimate is ready to be unleashed. Enemy here. Engaging enemy combatant. Receiving my aid. Join with me. Come to me. You will be renewed. A taste of poison. 30 seconds.
Careful, there's more of them.
Evolution is a painful path to walk.
10 seconds.
Join me.
Keep attacking.
Misery made.
That I just love boys. I love.
Alright, so before we hop into today's
You can't miss out on this one as college campuses become the breeding ground for far-left ideologues being exported across the country. It's
How you doing, man? I was wondering why you guys park here every day. So she's saying she pulled over just to use her cell phone, which I highly doubt that. They come over here every fucking day and they just scare the customers and scare the business away. Because it's just people always call and saying, why are the police over here? Why are the police just always over here? This makes it look bad for us business. You're scaring
That's all
people.
news to me. I felt threatened by his behavior.
Oh.
But I got to record it so she don't feel threatened.
She just asked for her name.
I don't even want to talk no more.
You gave her.
I don't have to say nothing.
Different name.
How? I went up there with my fucking name on my shirt, man.
Okay, sir. So I
There's nothing to talk about, ma'am. I already have everything recorded. You said I was disrespectful for once. Okay, I have everything recorded. Now I have a complaint with you because you're lying.
Listen, you did. I want to buy you on camera, sir. It's all audio.
Okay, good.
If I can help you.
How you doing, man? I was wondering why.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Unfortunately, when you went to buy a car on car finance or HP, it's a car or a van by.
You're not being polite to the pronouns.
Because
disrespectful.
Okay, forget about the disrespect. Facts don't care about your feelings. It turns out that every chromosome, every cell in Caitlyn Jenner's body is male with the exception of some of his sperm cells. It turns out that his brain structure is male. Wait, it turns out that he still has all of his male appendages.
You're not being polite to the pronouns.
Because
disrespectful.
Okay, forget about the disrespect. Facts don't care about your feelings.
Dude, I was looking at. I just love boys that. I just love boys. I love boys that they make it obvious when they actually really like you. Like, I'm over the games. Just tell me you love me and you want to marry me, and we can have babe. I don't know if I want kids, but we can get married. I don't know if I want marriage either. But we can be together and buy a house and get a puppy. Perfect.
Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we'll discuss modern women versus traditional wives. We'll also watch a video featuring a feminist claiming that men want to steal the success of women when they're successful entrepreneurs. We invite you to smash that like button. Let's support the movement. Subscribe to the channel. That's the only contribution we ask of you, man. Add your grain of sand to the movement. Leave your experience in the comments for any man who may need it. Without further ado, let's begin.
Definitely a hot take, but I don't think relationships should be equal. Speaking in general, men and women have different strengths, and that's why partnerships work. I really don't think that relationships should be equal. I don't think I should be working and he should be working and we should be making the same amount of money and doing the same chores, and I don't think that works. And I'm definitely not saying don't work and be submissive to your partner. That's not it at all. Just focus on your strengths. My boyfriend takes care of, he's a manly man in a sense, takes care of things, happy to do it. Total mama at heart. I love making sure that people that I love are taken care of and things go smoothly for them. And that's not saying that things aren't going on in my life. I still do my own shit and also take care of people. I also think it's really important to let a man be a man. If he wants to pay for something or if he wants to do something, let him, okay? Just let him. It fuels his ego. And it's really not to say that you can't do it. It's just let a man be a man.
Absolutely. A man has to be a man. But nowadays society wants to forbid that. It wants men to become effeminate. That's why you hear so much talk about connect with your femininity, or become an ally, or a simp. All a bunch of Winnie the Pooh. But the ironic part is, when they turn you into the nice guy, that simp who does everything for her, she cheats on you or leaves you for a Chad, a man more masculine than you, the one they always said you shouldn't be. It's like their equality speech they keep announcing every moment, but it's equality with nuances, of course, because equality doesn't apply to dating, to your money when you earn it, or to household expenses. It only applies to house cleaning. But where they really love it is in the 50/50th divorce split. Oh, they love that one. That's why I'll say it loud and clear. In a household, there can't be two bosses. There always has to be one above and one below. It's not submission, it's respect. The boss guides the home, sets the goals, and takes care of it, while the second one takes care of the first, organizes the home, the children who are beneath the other two. This worked for years, but the modern woman hates this. Not the married ones, of course. It's the ones who've never had a husband who say this is oppression.
We're talking about trad wives again today, and oh my god, do I have a story for you. TikTok ruined my husband of 12 years. Now he wants a trad wife, and we're getting divorced. I'm gonna go through and summarize the article. Basically, that they got married, they were never a traditional couple, they both worked, they both had the same hours at work, and all of a sudden he started watching trad wife content and idolizing a specific content creator and started making mean, nasty comparative comments to her and talking about how now he wants a submissive trad wife. Even though she said she never wanted to be a homemaker or a stay-at-home mom, and they had been living 12 years of their marriage with a very, very equal dynamic, and all of a sudden he becomes verbally abusive. He says he wants a submissive wife, that he deserves better, and yada, yada, yada. He ends up contacting other women, having emotional affairs, and now they're getting divorced. Quote unquote, because he deserves better. Now, as someone who does have a semi-50s aesthetic and is a stay-at-home mom, I often get lumped into this idea of being a trad wife. But I want to start off by saying there's nothing wrong with having traditional gender roles as long as that's something as the woman you want to participate in and you feel safe and supported in doing so. Same thing with dressing modestly. I don't think there's a problem with a woman choosing to dress modestly or a woman choosing to stay home with her children because that's how she feels the most fulfilled. I think the problem comes in when that's the type of woman a man is searching for, because usually they're doing that to search for somebody who they can be dominant over. And trad wife content can kind of lean into the fantasies of men like this, these men who are wishing to have this submissive, dominant role within their marriages. And what you see online absolutely has an element of fantasy and cosplay that gets lost in the social media literacy of some of these viewers. That is one of the reasons I take a lot of issue with trad wife creators on TikTok who talk about this being the idealized and natural role of a woman. Because although that might be right for you, making that a broad generalized statement can do some real harm to actual women and actual marriages, like in that article.
This is a fallacy. When a man starts watching content about traditional wives, especially if he's married, and begins to complain to his wife, it simply means there were underlying issues in that relationship that the man had been enduring. When he communicated them to his wife, she just swept them under the rug, forgot about them, until one day the man exploded. As a man, you don't want to dominate, but you do want better treatment. When you see a woman who cooks for you, shows affection, takes care of the home and children, yet still affectionate towards you, dresses elegantly, and doesn't have a dead bedroom. Tell me what man wouldn't be attracted to that. As I said, there can't be two men in one house. That woman had her dream relationship, but did she ever think if her husband did too? He was probably the typical modern man, who has to work, pay the bills, also do half of all the chores, besides taking care of the kids. Receiving a woman who comes from work, doesn't appreciate him at all, who only does her part, who surely never ate a hot meal because if both are working, who cooks? And surely, she arrived tired, and even if he did the chores, she couldn't have intimacy because she wanted to sleep to go to work tomorrow. When you see it like that, I assure you she regrets not leaving earlier, sacrificing 12 years of her life with that woman.
I'm here to tell you why that whole trad wife trend is absolute bullcrap. I just got off the phone with a friend of mine who has been married for about 15 years now. Before she got married, she got a master's degree in education and a law degree. She met her husband in law school. He wanted a traditional wife. She did not take the bar, and instead they got married. He took the bar, he passed the bar, he became a lawyer, and she became a full-time housewife and later a mom. Times 5. They have 5 children. Okay, fast forward 15 years, where he has been cheating on her for years. She finally caught him red-handed. She has enough confidence and determination to say, I want a divorce, I'm done. He's walking away with a $300,000+ job that he got, by the way, from one of her mom friends in a mom group. Let's just put that aside. She has nothing. She has 2 advanced degrees, 0 experience. So are they even worthwhile? Are they even worth anything? She has nothing to show for it, and in the last 15 years, what has changed in law and in education? Probably quite a bit. So she is stuck at this crossroads of feeling like she has nothing. And before you say alimony, he is trying to screw her out of everything he possibly can. She cannot keep the house, even though she has primary custody of the children. She can't afford it. She has no job. Absolutely no job right now. And even if she did, there are 5 children. So between drop-offs and pickups at 4 different schools, she has about 3 hours in the daytime when she is not tending to children. So to any woman who is considering that the trad wife lifestyle might be it for you, I encourage you to think about this story. Remember it. And just remember that you as a woman need to have something for yourself. If anything, just for yourself, because you absolutely never know what can happen in life, whether it be divorce, whether it be cheating, whether it be the passing away of your spouse. You have to take care of yourself and put yourself first. You can still love and support your husband and be an incredible wife who takes care of your man, but take care of yourself first.
The advice of a divorced woman who only thinks about individualism. This woman had bad luck, but she's no different from the hundreds of men who have it. In 15 years, she never had time for at least a part-time job. I doubt it. Besides, they'll tell me she left empty-handed. If a woman can take a lot with 1 child, imagine with 5. I'm sure she'll get half of the savings, half of all the assets. Also, if he cheated and she found out, she has evidence to show. I agree she shouldn't receive alimony because I assure you, with 5 children, she'll receive a good amount for child support. So, I don't buy into the story that she's the victim here. If the man cheated, that's not acceptable, but she could have gone to therapy. Or is therapy only for women who cheat? But not only that, in 15 years, you never had time to work or go back to school, or have a part-time job, even for 5 hours? You didn't have any savings. In short, you never did any. I'm sure there's more to this story that she's not telling us because in a divorce with 5 children, plus infidelity, the woman always comes out on top.
They want her accomplishments to sort of rub off onto them. And then when they feel like they own her, they, dust off their hands and say, okay, I loved that for you. I hope you had fun. Now I need you to shift your focus towards me.
Remember, everything that men accuse us of is what they do. Every single thing they accuse us of is what they are doing, or want to do, or will do. And Jules just made me realize for the first time, this is another one. This is another example. How many times have we been accused women of trying to change a man. That's just what we do. We try to change a man. Now, I am not denying that that's true. Anybody who grew up on A Beauty and the Beast would learn from a young age that, oh, he's a terrible human being who has a whole collection of inanimate objects that are terrified of him that he's holding hostage, who serve him. He throws tables at women, but all he needed was love. And then he's a beautiful prince again. Oh, God, I still owe y'all a Beauty and the Beast video. I hate that movie. It's groomed us into dating violent men. Anyway, so the point is that they have done such a good job of convincing us that we are the ones who just want to change men. We get with the man and then we try to change him. And again, it's not that that's not true, but what's even more true is that men are the ones trying to change us. Again, like I've said, if you are an independent woman who has her own money, your career is doing well, and you're loving your life, and you're living your best life, you oftentimes have a terrible dating life because you will attract men like she's talking about. I included a link in my caption. Go watch her video. So many men get off on bringing us down and changing us. And they will convince us that, no, feminism, yay, I love an independent woman, yay, I support your career, yay. And then as soon as you get married, or just something happens, you have a baby, that'll change it all. Then all of a sudden, you need to stay home. Bruce Willis did it to Demi, talked about that in a video, at the height of her career. Now all of a sudden, he wants babies, and he wants her to stay home and take care of all of them. So many women have thriving careers and are so amazing at everything they do. And love their life. And a man will be like, that right there, I want that to destroy it. I want that to change it. I want what she has. I want the good life.
What the fuck? Foxy Mobile's unlimited social media is great.
Because you can see everyone's holiday snaps and feel like you're there even though you're not there.
Yeah, and it's only a tenner.
The fun never ends with unlimited social media on Voxy Mobile. Selected social apps in UK, TNCs apply.
The worst enemy of a woman is another woman. This one is a radical crazy from the purple hair movements, and she has a virulent hatred towards men, simply for existing it seems, because she got married at 40. So it's not like she has experience with men. She just hates them for denying her that experience. But let's get into her speech. She says we are selfish and want to change them, but when a woman gets pregnant, there are studies that say her maternal instinct kicks in, which is why you see so many cats with those who don't have children. There are also studies that show that when a man stays at home, the woman starts to resent him, especially if she doesn't want the responsibility of running the entire household. So how do they expect us to do it? If we support them and stay at home and become homemakers, they hate us. If we tell them to stay, they hate us. She says we see a successful woman and want what she has, so we mess with her to ruin her. We could also say the same about women who only seek successful men to take advantage of their assets because businesswomen are like single mothers. They're at the bottom of the list of women a man wants to marry in the dating market. But let's continue.
And I'm going to marry her to be associated with how amazing she is, to get that social capital. The patriarchy rewards them for hitching their wagon to a badass. And then once you're theirs, uno reverso. Now it's all about me, bitch. That's what they think. That's what so many of them do. They try to change us. And they knock us up, and they make us have babies, and they say they're going to be great partners, and then they suck. And a lot of these women are married single moms. Was some of that because of their own poor decision making based on their dad being just like that? Or former trauma? Or being completely lied to right out of the gate about everything that this man actually is? Or lack of education, which is one of the reasons why I make a lot of these videos, to help women see the red flags, help women to take things slow and pay attention and really understand what you're getting. And at the same time, like Jules talks about a lot, Other Mutual Lorraine talks about a lot, I'll tag both of them to switch up. Just because you're with a man who seems okay with all your success doesn't mean he's not going to do the switching. Because if this man has not deconstructed patriarchy at all, and if he watched his daddy do the same thing, which so many of these men did, it's his turn to be king. His turn, king baby. And you are here to support that dream. You are not going to be queen because everything in your life is going to be tied to him now. You're going to be exploited for literally everything to help him be you. He wants to be you. He's jealous of you. And now that you're hitched to him, he gets everything about you, everything you've worked for, all, the friend group, the family, all this stuff, and now he's gonna get all your whisper and all of your dreams. Now, I know there are plenty of abusive men who have lots of money, control women that way, but I'm telling y'all, there's just as many, if not maybe even more now, because men are so messed up. Even despite the pay inequality and all that stuff, there's so many women who are doing way better than men on their own, and then the worst thing that happens to them is dating. All their ambition, boom. All their creative energy, all of their dreams, a gun, because this man's gonna suck, turn you into his little domestic servant, the person who gives everything for the children, man who has all these hobbies outside the home that take up all the time and the money and whatever. You're getting take it again. And all your dreams are squashed. And they have the audacity to call us the ones obsessed with changing men. I'd say most of our problems a lot of times, giving men the benefit of the doubt, believing what they say instead of watching what they do, and hoping they will change back into the person that they promised they'd be. But in terms of literally changing somebody, I see men do that way more than women. Women may try, but men, because they have that patriarchy on their side, backing them at every turn, they're the ones who actually change their partners. And they've convinced us it's us. Everything is opposite day with men.
So what's your advice then? To let them stay alone banging against the wall? Or to get married at 45 like you, to an effeminate guy who dresses like a woman? Because if you don't want to be with a man, what's the other option? Marry a woman or buy a cat and become a cat lady? Because look, just because this man accepts your success doesn't mean he won't change. In other words, there will never be a dynamic of partnership in that relationship because the woman has to live the way she did when she was single. That's why I say women who listen to this message end up lonelier than the sun at noon. Because something she seems to overlook is that businesswomen don't seek average men. They want successful men. So what life is she being robbed of if that man is already successful? Secondly, businesswomen have the worst luck in relationships. Almost all of them end up alone. They are women who marry after 40 without children usually. So what's there to be jealous of if wealthy men prefer younger women who aren't in high-status jobs? It's not that we want to exploit them. It's that these women have become the men they wanted to marry. Every man sees it as inadequate. That's why no man desires them. And those who do, they don't like because they tend to be effeminate men. And strong women detest that. So I'll give you the same advice you're giving them. Keep banging against the wall because the wall doesn't forgive.
Number one rule as a trad wife, this is your duty as a wife. A man's home is his castle, so he should be treated as a king. He's working a stressful job, maybe working long hours, just so he can provide for you and the family. So he rightfully deserves peace. That being said, it's every wife's duty to appreciate her man and all his hard work. Show him how much you truly appreciate him, okay? He is your king, and you are his queen. That is your duty.
Welcome to the wall. In today's video, we'll talk about taking care of men and being a housewife, discussing the trend of trad wives among modern women that is becoming popular. Many feminists are up in arms, saying that being a man's wife is a terrible idea. We want to invite you to smash that like button and support the movement. Subscribe to the channel. That's the only contribution we ask of you, man. Add your 2 cents to the movement and leave your experience in the comments for any man who needs it. Without further introduction, let's get started.
It's been
really interesting to see how shocked people are by the term trad wife and how they seem to think it's some new way of living, like it's some unprecedented new trend. Like, have you seen these millennial and Gen Z girls? They just want to be at home with their kids, they want to have husbands, and they want to take care of their husbands, they want to cook, and they want to clean, and they want to wear dresses. It's insane, when in reality, it's literally like the oldest lifestyle in the book. Before this, they were just called stay-at-home moms, and before that, they were just called women. But now our society has gone so far in the feminist direction that anybody who wants to live like a little bit old school and a little bit like how women used to live is fringe, right? Like an extremist. And I just think about how so many of us, since we were little, we were raised in this kind of boss babe feminist society that told us you can be so much more than just a mom. You can be so much more than just a wife. And so many of us listened, and we, you know, tried to climb corporate ladders, and we boss babed so hard. Now, like, we're a little bit boss babed out, and some of us want to go a little bit more back to our roots, to our ancestors, to the women who came before us, and live a little bit more, you know, like they did. Call us crazy, but we like babies. We want to have babies. We want to spend the very few years that we have of them being little with them. We like cooking, we like running a home, we like supporting our husbands and having good marriages. And yes, we also appreciate cute dresses, the audacity. So call them trad wives, call them stay-at-home moms, call them whatever you want, but just know that no matter how much you try and push the career and the boss babe and the feminist lifestyle onto women, there will always be women who naturally want a more traditional lifestyle, just like the billions of women who came before us.
Once, I had a professor who said, people want everything for free, except thinking for themselves. And today I see that this is completely true. Nowadays, if you choose not to accept the imposed narrative, then you are the black sheep, the one who is wrong in society's eyes. Because not all women want the life of a boss woman, and unfortunately, not all women have the ability to be good employees or climb the corporate ladder. What these women from the colored hair movement never talk about are the hundreds of women left behind, who didn't choose to become mothers in time and were consumed by depression. That's why they are the #1 consumers of antidepressants, going to therapy, or trying to suppress their natural instincts by buying a cat. Many just want to raise their children, take care of their husbands, and find in that a worthy life goal. Having a family, something called a home, unlike many who only work, return to an empty house, and clean up after a cat, when taking care of a man is so much easier. Watch the next video.
Turn the game on, I'll brush your hair, help you put your do-rag on. Want a foot rub, want a manicure. Baby, I'm yours, I wanna cater to you, boy.
Like I was saying, I think we should just stay friends, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm not ready for a relationship. Like, you know, I'm just not ready for all that right now, you know what I'm saying? Like, real talk. Damn. Creepy shit. You say you cooked there? You did there? Cornbread. Cornbread. Cornbread too? This ain't just this from scratch? Oh, Lord, shit. And you cook this like this all year round? Stay the same place like this all year round? Well, I don't know, baby, look. You mind if I take my Air Max off? Look, check this out. I'm gonna take my Air Max off for a couple of years because I've been thinking since I've been sitting here eating on this that you might be right. We might do need to get in a relationship because, real talk, I've been hungry lately, and these women I've been dealing with, they, you know, this is the place I've been looking for. So, you want to get married tomorrow? You want to get married tomorrow? Because yeah, that look like that's what's finna happen. I don't want to be single no more. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go and get married tomorrow. And I'm going to bring my little TV and my little VCR that I got, my 4-pair of boxes that I got at the crib with mom, and bring them on over here with you because look like this is my home. Look like I got a phone to happen.
Oh my God! Wow!
How hard is it to treat your man well? For a man, it means more when a woman invites him to a meal than when she puts on a face full of expensive makeup, a pricey dress, and goes to a 5-star place to impress people no one cares about. If women understood that these small details, those that seem so simple, brothers, it changes all your thoughts towards that woman. Many modern women believe that intimacy or having a pretty face is enough to keep a man, and that this is why he should give her a ring. But that's not the case. A man evaluates your effort. It's incredible that some men solve problems for the women they date, paying for their apartments, some of their services, and giving them money to resolve issues. Yet that woman has never even called that man to make him a sandwich. That's why I always recommend men to test women when dating. Tell her when she calls, "I'm working, I haven't eaten today," or "I'm tired, I need to get home and make something to eat," and see what she responds. If that woman never offers to do an act of service for you, believe me, she is not wife material. Get out of there because it will only bring you trouble, especially if from the beginning she does nothing for you, only demanding money or telling you about her problems for you to solve. She is a freeloader. Get out of there and avoid chaos in your life because there are selfish women like the one in the next video.
Say to me all the time, "Why don't you make your husband a sandwich?" Okay.
A lot of women ask me about what's the difference between boyfriend treatment versus husband treatment. A boyfriend is literally that he's a boy and he's my friend. I don't owe him anything. With my husband, as is said in this video, I will do anything for him. If it's a sandwich, if it's standing by him, supporting his decisions. You know, when a man that is supported by his wife, what that really means is, it doesn't mean that she's in the background. It doesn't mean that she is weak. It means she's literally supporting him. She is powering him. Do you know how powerful female energy is? And if you're powered by a woman who loves you, how powerful that is. I'm not going to spend that or give that or do that for some man who's not chosen me. So if he's chosen me, then I will do that for him. And if he hasn't, that's not my job.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
Exactly. It's not your job. That's why you're single. Because you never do anything for a man while dating. How do you expect me to see you as a wife if you're already failing in the early stages? This is the irony with them. They claim to have standards for a man. If the man, beyond physical appearance, is affectionate and attentive, when women say these two things, it only means he solves my problems and gives me gifts. With them, it's all about how useful he can be to me. If you don't show some utility to that woman, she will discard you. But at no point does it cross her mind how she can be helpful to her partner. Of course not, because no man asks you to act like a wife when you're not. But by never doing anything for him, you will never pass the man's consistency tests. Cook well, take care of the home, be kind to me, call me in the morning or at night to check on my day, visit me when I'm sick. These things don't require money but show that this person cares about you, that she takes care of you. Gentlemen, conduct your consistency tests. If she doesn't do anything for you while dating, it won't get better in marriage.
There's a recent trend of videos circulating on here about trad wives and, you know, how you don't see women in their 40s and 50s glamorizing that life. And yeah, because it sucks.
Hello there.
I was a trad wife and I never expected that I would be one. I kind of ended up somewhat against my will. Around my 1-year anniversary, I was told, your job is stressing you out too much. You